guys, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a relationship expert, matchmaker, and of course, a comedian too. No other than Mr. Paul Roseberry.
Hey, thank you so
Well,
much for having me, Daniel.
welcome, Mr. Paul. Like, can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah, so as you said, my name is Paul Roseberry. I am a relationship and matchmaker. Sorry, relationship coach and matchmaker by
Yes.
day, and stand-up comedian at night. So I really enjoy these days of getting on a lot of pods and talking about my, as you can see on my shirt, the security method
Security
to.
method.
Yeah, it's a method that I've created for building and developing successful relationships. Uh, it's a huge deal for me. It took me a long time to figure out how to be in relationships, how to be good at them, how to enjoy them, what they're for, how to be myself, all these things. And so now that I'm in a place where things are very good for me, and I've been, with my wife for 12 years, we have a 10-month old little girl. Um, I'm really excited to share with others the things that I've learned that help make relationships successful and fun. Um, and just to kind of put a bow on that, it drives me nuts to see people struggle in relationships that I think could be a lot better if at least one of the two people just understood some of the more core foundation principles of what makes a relationship tick. So that's why I'm here.
Definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Paul. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And today, let's talk about saving a marriage, the key factor that almost everyone misses in
Yeah.
relationship building. So tell us, saving marriage, the key factor that almost everyone misses. So let's start there. What is that one critical factor that most couples, even in therapy, tend to overlook?
So I would, to get right to the core of it, I would say be able to walk away. Now, I want to clarify in the same breath. I'm going to say it doesn't mean that you need to walk away, but you never want to be in a relationship that you couldn't walk away. And the reason I say that is because I think a lot of people, they miss the intent of a relationship. I think a lot of people get into a relationship because they're looking to feel better about themselves. They use a relationship to solve a problem in their life that isn't a problem that can be solved by a relationship. So they misuse the relationship. And in time, that is going to cause absolute heartache and brain ache, because when you misuse a relationship, and so many people do, when you use a relationship to make yourself feel better, to boost your own self-confidence, to soothe pain in your life, and you hope somebody else is going to help you to do that, then you're using the relationship, and you're going to be in need of the relationship. And we can break this all down, but to kind of sum it up, when you're in a relationship for need instead of my favorite word, interest, when you're in a relationship because you need the relationship, then one of you, your partner, is going to come to realize there's nothing they could not do that would make you, that would cause you to stay. They could treat you in any way they could, and you would still stay. They could treat you as horribly as they want, and you would still stay. And that doesn't mean that they would treat you so horribly, but they're going to know you're not using the relationship because you want to be with that person. You're using that person to solve your own problem. And then they're going to say, wait a minute, I bet that problem could be solved by a lot of other people. I have no security here. Security. And I mean, we can break it down, but yeah, that's it. When people use relationships for the wrong reasons, it's It's not going to go well.
Most advice focuses on communication or date night. Why do you believe those surface level solutions often fail to create lasting change?
I love it. You're on it, man. You use the key word. Those are surface level solutions. You have to get down to the core. Respect, security. It comes down to security. So the reason I like the word security, because if you both men and women both enjoy feeling a sense of security in a relationship, you want to feel that it's solid. You want to feel that it's growing. It's built on the right foundation. If a woman feels that you cannot provide her security in the sense of, think about it this way, we're still a little bit cave people. You know what I mean? We have iPhones. We're in the future. We got Netflix. We're still cave people a little bit in our minds. And I believe there's a certain part of a woman's mind where she goes, "Hey, if we get into a serious relationship somewhere down the road, I'm probably going to be pregnant. While I'm pregnant, I can't fight a tiger." Now, it doesn't mean she could fight a tiger anyway, but she especially can't fight a tiger when she's pregnant. She can be very vulnerable physically. And during that time, she's going to need to know, is this guy able to fight the tiger for both of us? If she feels you can take the wheel, you can take the lead, and you can provide security for yourself and for her when she's unable, that woman's going to be happy. It's 90% of relationship happiness. It's 90%. And she's going to relax and she's going to enjoy and be comfortable around you. She's going to respect you. She's going to want to have you around. And then you can talk about things like a movie you just saw. You can talk about the news. You can talk about a book you just read. You can relax. But on the other hand, if a woman gets a sense that that man needs her so that he can feel safe in his life, then she's going to go, "Oh, no, 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 no. This is really bad. You need me to make you feel safe? Well, then who's going to keep me safe? Wait a minute." And then, to jump right ahead, then the woman is taking on the role of the man and the woman. She has to play both roles. And this is too much pressure for any one person. It's not fair. It's not how a relationship is meant to work. And that's how you get, I always like to say, that's how you get a Karen. People like to say, to call women Karens sometimes. Karens are man-made. Karens are man-made. You may see the end result, which is a woman who's, in her SUV up on the curb, beeping her horn at you and yelling in a Starbucks she needs to see a manager. But if you dial it back, a lot of times those are women who, they don't feel secure. They don't feel safe in their relationship. And that's why some of these date night, more communication, it's a little surface. You got to go deeper.
Mr. Paul, how is this miss factor different from the concept of love? Is it possible to love someone deeply and still be missing this essential ingredient?
Oh, of course. A lot of times, this missing ingredient, people don't even know it's not there. A lot of times, and I hate to see it, I hate to see it in guys, because guys they'll want it to work. Guys will want it to work. It looks so good on paper. Well, I'm off the market. I don't have to date anymore. I've got a woman. I've got a wife. We have kids. We have a house. Like, oh, everything's perfect. I have the life that a man is supposed to have. But if you didn't know this one key factor in how to present yourself in a way that feels your strongest and draws a certain type of attraction from your wife, if you don't even know, if you've never felt that, then you may not know that it's missing. You may know something's wrong, but you won't know how to put your finger on it like this. and you'll be absolutely lost on how to fix it. So you may just push it off and push it off and push it off. And you want to say, well, no, I'm doing nice things for my wife. I buy her gifts. I put a nice roof over our head. I take us on vacation. I'm doing the things. This is love. This has got to be love. But there's something missing. And it's this. A lot of times it's this. It is this ability to feel so strong in your own skin that you understand why somebody is excited to be with you. Not that they're willing to be with you, but that they're excited to be with you. And I want every man to feel that. I really do.
Mr. Paul, can you describe what the absence of these key factors looks and feels like in a day-to-day life of a marriage?
Yeah. Used, used. That feeling of used. Um, like I said, it could be after just a few dates. Say it's early on. You're like, oh man, I take this girl out. I'm excited to be with her because she's beautiful. You know, I feel like a winner because I'm out with a beautiful woman, but God, she never pays for anything. And we've been going out for 2 months, 3 months. She's never even paid for a drink. God, I have to wonder if she's with me because she wants to be with me or because I pay for everything. Or it could be years into a marriage and you just say, God, I just don't get any respect. I don't get compliments from her. I do so much. I put so much into this. And she doesn't appreciate anything. If you feel unappreciated, used, or just simply not respected, if that even crosses your mind, if you don't feel well in the relationship, this is when it's time to look at these principles.
The practical application and shifting dynamics, Mr. Paul. This
Mm,
sounds theoretical. Can you give us a concrete example of how applying this key factor would change a common marital argument like about finances or parenting?
sure. So it begins with understanding your own value. It is imperative. When people often make this error, it's when they allow their value to be determined externally. If you feel more valuable because somebody says that you're valuable, then you're relying on them to make you feel good. When you determine your own value, you have to take the time to look at yourself and go through your own assets as an individual, and you say to yourself, who am I? Who am I? What are my interests? What are my strengths? What makes me exciting to be with? What do I bring to the table? And if a lot of people, they'll say, oh God, I don't even want to look at that. I just want to find someone who will love me for me and all my problems, and hold on to them for the rest of my life no matter what. But if instead you go, hey, I know I've got some faults, but my advantages, my assets outweigh my liabilities, and I'm a really exciting person to be with, then you can go and shop. To put it in a funny way to say shop, but you can go then explore and offer yourself to people who you're bringing a lot to their life. And then you can be more discerning to figure out who's going to get to be with you. And to put it in an application, say you get, you were saying like finances, say you get into an argument, it's having a leg to stand on. You're not always going to be right. We're always going to, there's always a possibility that you could be the one who's wrong. But if you can have the ability to balance a situation and go, okay. In this situation, I may not be right, but let's not pretend that I'm not most of the time bringing a lot of value to our situations. So I know I bring enough that it's not a total loss. We're talking about a very specific situation, and I'm happy to improve. I always want to grow. I want to be stronger. I want to be better. But most of the time, I bring more value than I take. So I feel good that we can move forward. It would only make sense that we could move forward. Um, if that gives you a situation.
Definitely. So moving from survival to revival, Mr. Paul, for
I like
couple
that.
that feels the love is completely gone, is it too late?
No, no, it's not too late. The reason relationships often go south is because neither person has really identified what they want from a relationship. When you want to buy a car, you're going to search and you're going to look around. You're going to say, well, I want a car that has, good safety. I want a car that has, seats 7 passengers because I got kids. You're going to go through. It's got to have all-wheel drive. You're going to go through. You can be very specific about what it is you want in a car before you go buy a car. And then you're going to get the car that you want because you knew what you wanted. And then you shopped for it and you said no to the ones that weren't a good fit. Now, when people get into relationships, nobody writes it out. Nobody writes it out. I encourage people to write it out. It's imperative. And when I do coaching, people absolutely write out, what does a relationship that feels good to you look like? And you write it out and you go everything from, how does it make you feel? What are some of the activities you do? How do you feel when you're there? And then what do you bring to the table? So if a relationship has come to a point where it's lasted for quite a while, but it just feels loveless, before you throw it away, assuming there's not some terrible, abuse going on where you immediately just must leave. I think it's important to ask, what do you want from what do you want from an enjoyable relationship? What do you bring to a relationship? And what are some things that you could work on? You could work on, whether it's this relationship or any relationship, whichever next one you get into. And then once you've worked on that for yourself, I think both parties should do that. And then you should have a conversation with each other and say, what could I be doing that would make you more excited to be with me? And be able for them to ask you that same question and you be able to answer it. I'll bet a lot of times it comes down to respect. And fascinatingly, insecurity, again, I'll tug on the shirt, insecurity, you may not realize it. As a man, you may think your wife is pulling away from you because she's, you're not enough or you're not doing enough. She may be feeling the same way. She may be afraid that she's not enough for you. And she just might need a few compliments. It could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as appreciation, mutual appreciation.
Mr. Paul, as a relationship expert, matchmaker, and of course, comedian, what are your short term and long term goals?
Some of my goals include for relationship coaching, and I do include confidence coaching with that, because a big part of my relationship coaching is confidence coaching. Confidence by itself, specifically in the sense that confidence, once understood as a core principle in life, you can apply it to your relationships romantically, your relationships at work, with your friends, your family, and just as you walk down the street. So I love to help people to find ways to feel confident and to build relationships that they really enjoy. So in order to bring these concepts to a larger scale and to bigger stages, I'd really like to do a TEDx talk. I would love it. Hey, someday maybe I'd do a TED talk, but a TEDx would make me feel really good. I know they have a massive audience. I'd love to get in front of them. And I ultimately, I want the feedback. I want to hear from a lot of people, and every one person is its own value in response. But I want to hear from people. Paul, I heard what you said. I thought about it. I figured out how to apply it to my life. I used it and I feel better. My relationship is going better. I feel more confident as a person. My wife is enjoying being with me more. I didn't get a divorce. I enjoy my kids more. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to affect people in this way, and I want to hear it because it feels amazing. Well, I had a meeting with a guy. I had a coaching session with a guy one time. Successful man. Things just weren't clicking with dating. I heard him for a while. We spoke for half an hour, 35 minutes or so. Maybe somewhere, it wasn't the first 5 minutes. It wasn't right out the gate. I listened to what he had going on, asked a few questions. And then once I introduced that I felt like the concept of delivering security was missing, immediately, it clicked for him. And I said, you're absolutely right. That's it. Tell me more. And we talked about more. He goes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. We didn't even meet again. He was all set. He was a very smart guy. I won't say what profession he was in, but he was in a very educated, skilled profession. And I knew he knew how to learn. He got it. And I felt amazing. Felt great. I loved it.
Hmm.
So
Good
my
luck
goals,
to
I
your
want to get that a
goals.
lot.
Yes,
Huh?
good luck to your goals, Mr. Paul. I'm looking forward
Thank
for
you.
your success.
Thank you.
And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I mean, hey, to be like me, I'm not gonna put myself on such a pedestal, but I will say to be like the principles that make me feel good about being me, build your confidence. As I said, before you even decide what your goals are, you can't make goals. You can't set goals until you know who you are on some level. And understanding yourself is a lifelong process. One could argue, but I think that a lot of people, I think I'll give you this little tidbit here, and I really it's very something I like to extrapolate on later. But I think a lot of people, we limit ourselves in consciousness to believe we are, as the entirety of our identity, the person we were born into being, in the sense of our family's financial status, our family's social class, how your parents acted, this and that. You believe that to be the extent of who you are. You're sort of almost stuck in this identity that was handed to you at birth. But in reality, I look at that identity that we're handed at birth as more like an actor being handed a script. An actor will step into a script. They will play that script. They will become that character for the sake of fulfilling that script. But at the end of the day, the actor goes home. And maybe, I know there's some guys who don't get out of character until the movie's over. They will decompress and they'll separate. And there's a difference between the actor and the character in the script. I recommend we all take a moment to separate, to just understand that, really just consider what it means to separate the character from the script, separate the you, the true you, genetically, just you like jalapenos, you like ice cream, whatever. Separate that raw person, almost like when you get a new iPhone. If you were to take your iPhone right now and you were to clear it out, reset it to factory default, all of your text messages would be gone, all the photos would be gone, all of your search history would be gone. Those things that make up the you who you see in the mirror every day. If you delete all of those, all that character, then you just have the base pure phone. And there's a you that's pure and separate from that identity as well. And if you can connect with that person and find out what are that person's strengths, I believe the key to happiness is to fully exercise your assets. If you can be in motion and using your gifts, which we all have some gifts, some more than others, who knows, whatever. But if you are utilizing your gifts and growing with that and getting to your fullest potential, that's what happiness is in large part. So you have to learn who you are. And once you learn who you are and you start to become aware of your assets and you start to focus on that part of life, of your identity, then you can choose goals that will resonate with your flavor and your interest. And that's when you can begin to really enjoy your life. So I think this started with you asking, how can someone be more like me? Again, don't be like Paul Roseberry. Be more like you. Be more like you. Be the core, truest you and dig down deep. And I've got a lot of ways that I love to help people to find that. And that's where you'll have the most enjoyment. And that's what I'm trying to do. So in that way, you are kind of like me.
Yes, and thank you for that advice, Mr. Paul.
Sure.
So, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of The Great Gatsby. I reference, I'd say, half a dozen times a year. I recite my favorite line from The Great Gatsby, one of my favorite lines ever. I think it was the first page of The Great Gatsby. The quote was, "All of life's virtues are not distributed equally at birth. Keep that in mind. Because in life is frustrating. Life is very hard. There's no two ways about it. Life is very hard. Even if you become good at it, it will have been hard along the journey and it'll still stay hard. And to build character, maybe you hope it stays hard. But my point is, when you're a child, if your parents raise you to be open-minded and to be, healthy, they'll say, we're all created equal. We're all created equal. And you feel good about that. You go, great. That's awesome. We're all, we can't wait to get out in the world and share this experience, this journey with everybody else who's just like me, looking to go into this with a positive attitude and learn and experience and have fun. But it's not the truth. We're not all made equal. Some people are going to struggle more than others. It's a truth. But if you believe people who are giving you an attitude, people who are maybe rude to you, people who make your life harder, if you believe that they have all the skills that you do and they choose to act this way, then you're going to think that they're being evil. And that's going to make you say, well, maybe I live in a more evil world. Maybe I need to be evil back. But if instead, for a moment, you can consider maybe this person is not necessarily evil in that they intend to make my life harder. Maybe they just don't understand. Maybe they weren't given as many of life's virtues as I was, and they're accidentally being rude. They don't even know they're doing it because their life is more strugglesome than mine. And if you can just see past the sense of intent, the personal insult, and separate that to just an objective perspective that sometimes people are just the way they are and it has nothing to do with you, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to move on with your day. It's going to keep a lot more of your energy inside of you available for more productive activities and thoughts. I would offer that. That is a huge thing that I learned from The Great Gatsby. And to put a bow on The Great Gatsby, Gatsby was living a lie. He was living a lie. He really thought he wanted that girl. And he really thought that if he just went out and made enough money and had expensive enough things, there was that scene with the linens where she was feeling like even the sheets in his mansion, even the sheets, his money was all through that house. He had the car. His money was for real. And he thought that was going to win her over because he thought she just cared about money and he had enough to win her over and then she'd be his, just like a possession. Just like a prize. She was nothing but a prize to validate his accomplishments in life. And it almost worked. She wanted to be with him until she realized, wait a minute, you don't have the right intention here. You missed the point. You're not who I thought you were, who I hoped you were when you came in and swept me away real quick. And even The Great Gatsby with all that money, as successful as it made him to want to chase that goal, it was the wrong goal. So really consider what your goals are about. Consider why they are your goals. What do you want from them? And are they of a healthy root? I think The Great Gatsby is an incredible book for those principles.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Paul. And for the person listening who thinks, but my partner will be never go for this, what is the smallest, almost microscopic first step they can take today that does not require their partner's buy-in?
I love it. Man, you have great questions, Daniel. So your partner does not need to buy in for you to begin to develop more of your understanding of what a healthy relationship looks like for you. And if your partner, you're afraid maybe won't buy in to start, I assure you, if you're feeling the feelings that we've talked about, some of these negative feelings, not feeling appreciated, not feeling respected, feeling muted, pushed aside, overpowered in the relationship. If you begin to reclaim your own sense of dignity in your value, it will lead to good things. Now, I'm not going to say you go right out tomorrow and you just stand your ground and you yell back at somebody who, is maybe in the middle of a mood. I'm not going to say that. And I don't encourage yelling. I don't encourage arguing in that sense. But pick something that really bothered you. Find a time when things are calm and say, hey, you know what? We need to have a chat for a minute. We need to have a chat. And then you bring it up and you say, I didn't enjoy that. And then when they say, well, you know what? Because in the beginning, it can sound like whining. It can sound like whining to say, well, that wasn't nice of you. But if you say, I'm letting you know, I didn't like the way that felt. I'm not sure if you intended it. I would assume, I would have to hope that you didn't. But that's not how, and one of my favorite lines, that's not how we treat each other. If you take that stance, you deliver that line properly, it will change everything. It is the first step in changing everything. That is not how we treat each other. Because I assure you, if your partner is abusing you in this way, and again, if we're talking physical abuse, then you leave. But if it's a sense of you feeling taken advantage of and used in a way that, makes you feel horribly, your partner is living just as uncomfortably in their mind to even act that way. They're just as uncomfortable as you are because they treat themselves the same way. They're living in the same kind of hell. So if you can come in and initiate some truth and you lay it down, and not in a I'm better than you or I'm here to score points. There's none of that. It's for mutual value, but it's for yourself as well. And you're not backing down. It just makes sense. That thing you did on this day, do we both agree that happened? Yes. Okay. That didn't feel right. I wouldn't do that to you. And moving forward, I can't have you act that way toward me.
Mr.
That
Paul,
is
why?
going to be the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that's the beginning. That's
That's
the
the
beginning. You
that's
start
the
there.
beginning for sure. So what do you think this factor is so widely missed in our modern culture's understanding of love and marriage?
Well, for one, it, we it's not taught in school how to be in a relationship. You know, it's never, as I was saying earlier, it's never defined. It's never defined. Relationships are probably the most emotionally influenced decision you will ever make in your life. Ever. It is the most emotionally driven decision you will ever make in your life. You ever see, imagine a kid now that we're adults. Imagine you're talking to a 16-year-old kid who's looking to get their first car, save some money, and they see this convertible and they're like, "Oh God, I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it so bad. It would be so fun to have a convertible. Oh my God." And you say to the kid, "Well, have you had a mechanic look at it?" You say, "Forget it. I don't care. Look at that car. It looks like so much fun." And you go, "But is it going to run? Has it been maintained well? Do you know anything about this car?" Then the kid goes, "I don't care. I just want it." You go, "Well, you're making an emotional decision about a situation that calls for a balance of practicality. You got to have a plan. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a convertible that sits on the side of the road and doesn't run." Relationships are the same way. You see someone, you think they're beautiful, and that's it. And that's it. And then if they're willing to go home with you, then you're in love. That's it. Do you know what's under the hood? Do you know what's under your hood? Do you know what a healthy relationship looks like? Do you have the goals? Do you have any sort of a roadmap whatsoever? Probably not. And that's why people they rush into relationships that they're afraid to then let go of. Dating is scary. Being alone is scary. People don't know how to date. People don't know how to be single. They don't know how to be alone. So when you find someone, anybody, who's willing to take away your fear of being alone, the worst thing that can happen is you hold on with both hands without having any sense of goal as to what a healthy relationship looks like. You're just staying there to avoid your fears. That's why a lot of people find themselves in this situation. That's why.
Mr. Paul, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and mental health 101. Love Letters in the third season, a movie 101 review and music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Paul, ultimately, what is the greatest gift that couples give themselves and even their children when they learn to build their relationship on this foundational principle?
Joie de vie, if I can use a French term, an enjoyment of life, an enjoyment of life.
Yes.
You know, a break from asking yourself why you're here, a break from asking yourself, is life worth it? A break from you asking yourself, why is everything so hard? You get to spend a little bit of time saying, hey, I'm glad to be here. I'm enjoying this moment. I'm enjoying this time. And to be able to share that with someone else and to be able to pass it on, it's critical. It's one of the greatest gifts you could ever give, including to yourself. So, yeah, an enjoyment of life.
Truly, truly, people, because life is too short and bring legacy to the world, just like Mr. Paul Roseberry. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything you
Sure.
want to promote on Book 101 Review?
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. People, you can find me at paulroseberry.com. That's Roseberry, Roseberry, roseberry.com. I'm also on Instagram, Paul_Roseberry_. And I'm a host of the Vent This podcast. So you can reach out, ask me questions about relationships. If you want coaching, we can talk about one-on-one. I do that as well. But if you just have a single question here and there, I'll answer those questions on my pod, the Vent This podcast, which is a lot of humor. It's a lot of fun of things that aren't necessarily related to seriousness of relationships. But we do cover relationships as well. And we can get very serious for those. So I look forward to hearing from you. Reach out, ask me anything you want. I love helping people out. I enjoy it. Thank you.
Yes, yes, people, let's support Mr. Paul Roseberry because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering of the episodes to come, and for sure, more and more empowering relationship will solve through his knowledge and wisdom. So, Mr. Paul, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate your time as well. You've been a lot of fun, and I look forward to chatting again, maybe on Comedy 101.
Yes, indeed. Tune in, people. We will do an episode with Mr. Paul on Comedy 101. More to come, people. See you soon.